Well, hello and welcome to Fun with Finance. I'm Bill Schroer, your host, and this is Fun with Finance session number 7. This is going to be a refresher. As you know, Fun with Finance has taken time off during the summer, and now as we come back and ready to begin our new session, we wanted to review some of our financial fundamentals. Remember, our course goals include good money habits, money management, and the financial markets and investing. So we're going to start by going back to the future and reviewing some of what we covered last year. And once we spend a little bit of time on those fundamentals, then we're going to be moving into investing and the financial markets. So it's important that for good money management habits, we create an environment and a culture within ourselves, within our own lives, that enables us to, on an ongoing basis, without a lot of work or without a lot of stress, to save money and to have money available for investing. Now, how to do that incorporates a couple of component parts that we've already talked about, but we're going to kind of review. First of all, we're going to live below our means. That means being frugal. Well, what does frugal mean? Well, here's our definition of frugal. The notion of operating in a way that is prudent, thrifty, and economical, and avoids waste. And if we keep that in the back of our minds, we're going to be able to live in a frugal manner without sacrificing or scrimping, but simply by managing our resources in a prudent way. Another aspect of good money management habits is to maintain a budget. I spent quite a bit of time on this last time, and I'm going to emphasize it once again. And the reason why, is because a budget enables you to better understand what resources you have available and how you're going to prioritize the allocation of those resources. Additionally, if you incorporate your savings into your budget, then you'll always allow some money to be plugged into your savings account, and that becomes part of your budgetary exercise. One additional aspect has to do with debt and the way you manage debt, and often that includes a discussion about credit cards and debit cards. So we're going to talk about those aspects as well. And finally, making sure that we have long and short-term goals, so that our goals are things that we have written down and they're incorporated into the budget. Actually, that's not quite final. The last thing is take pride in being a cheapskate, because when you're frugal, you enjoy and are rewarded by the ability to save money. And we'll talk about each of those things in their turn. Our first topic is to live below your means. And that's something we talked about last year. And there's several ways in which you can live below your means and be frugal. First, the notion is that you don't need to keep up with the Jones or Smiths in this case. It isn't important to always have the trendiest items. Functionality is what's critical, and if you don't have the most modern car or the most current stereo, that's okay, as long as it works. And the second part of that is what I call satisficing, and that's a marketing term. And what it means is, as opposed to optimizing or having the most current, trendy, modern, newest thing, you satisfy the need. So in marketing, we call, when people stop buying something at some level, they are satisfied. They have satisfied the need, so they don't need to buy the next best thing or the next most expensive thing. They're satisfied with where they're at. And so think about that when you're making a purchase. What is it that's going to be necessary to satisfy my need without spending more than I need to? So living below your means can incorporate not keeping up with your counterparts or your friends or neighbors, satisfying the need, and then thinking about what's a need versus a want. We all have some needs, and we all have lots of wants. There are things that I would want to buy, but do I need it? And often the answer is no, I don't need it. And frankly, in our consumer culture, we're trained to think of wants as if they were needs. But in point of fact, very few wants are needs. And therefore, by just separating those out, we're able to better manage our resources by recognizing that a lot of what we think we need to buy is really a want that we can postpone or eliminate from our purchasing list. The last notion is something that we spent time on before, and that's taking care of your stuff. Taking care of your stuff preserves the utility and the function of the materials you have, so you get longer life out of them, they stay functional, and you enjoy the full utility of those items, whether it's an automobile or a stereo or your phone. By getting the most value out of these items, you delay the purchase of the replacement item, and you have that money available to invest. So living below your means is a general concept, but there's lots of specifics we can do to enable that to be successful in achieving that goal. I want to spend just a minute talking about being frugal. That's a word that's kind of odd, and I use it quite a bit, and I'd like to share with you what frugal actually means. It means being prudent, thrifty, economical, and avoiding lavish spending or wastefulness. And I thought I'd share that because we talk about frugal quite a bit, but people say, well, what does that mean? Well, this is what it means. The next item we're going to talk about as part of our refresher series is the notion of using a budget. It's extremely important that you work on using a budget, even if it's approximate, even if you don't have it exactly nailed down. But a budget helps you understand the framework of your financial universe, the income or the resources you have at your disposal, and then the expenses that you're going to spend those resources on prioritized. And when you have a budget, you first of all understand what it is that you've got and what it is you have to spend money on. You have to spend money on. And then you can also include discretionary purchases, some wants in the form of short-term or long-term goals. And also we include line items that incorporate your savings, so that ultimately you can have that pot of money that's going to be available for investing. It's very important also that as part of the budget you track spending. So if you think you're spending $20 a month on rented videos or on snacks at school, and then you actually track it and find that you're spending double that, it's not good or bad, it's simply information that helps you understand where your real spending lies. So tracking spending is just as important as having a budget in the first place. Once you create your budget, then it's important that you follow up and manage that spending. Now there's a couple of ways you can do that. One is with an Excel spreadsheet, and I encourage you to develop, there's templates in Excel that will allow you to start with an already constructed framework for a budget, and then you can modify that to suit your individual needs. So starting with a budget, Excel spreadsheet, tracking your spending is very important. And then making savings part of your budget allows you to incorporate your savings plan into your budgetary exercise. Another thing we talked about last year a little bit that I want to spend just a minute talking about is managing debt. Now, for many of you, you don't have necessarily long-term debt such as a mortgage or a car payment, but debt comes in different forms, and a credit card is a form of debt. Once you use a credit card, you automatically owe what your purchase to that credit card company. And I don't know if you're aware of it, but the average installment credit or credit card annual rate of interest is 19%, and it can be much higher than that. So essentially, you are spending money. If you don't pay off your credit card every month in full, you are spending 20% or more in interest on borrowing that money. So I encourage you to have only one credit card, to use it only for emergencies, and instead to use a debit card. And what's the difference? Well, a credit card, you're borrowing somebody else's money to buy things. A debit card is your own money. A debit card is like a checkbook. It's money taken out of your checking account in the form of a plastic card that every time you make a transaction, money is withdrawn from your checking account. So therefore, if you don't have money in your checking account, your debit card can't be used. So therefore, it is an automatic barrier to your overspending. A credit card should be kept in your purse or your wallet and be used in emergencies only, because frankly, there are very few purchases that you want to make until you have the money saved to be able to make that purchase. If you are going to use a credit card, make absolutely sure you pay it off in full every month. Do not allow credit card debt to build up, because you are paying a huge amount in interest to borrow somebody else's money. The last item in our refresher has to do with goals. While we all make purchases and make decisions about spending month in and month out, oftentimes we may be interested or may need to purchase something that takes more planning or more saving than what we have the immediate resources for. As part of our budgetary exercise, plugging in a short-term goal or a long-term goal enables us to gradually save against that spending target. So for example, if we need a new set of tires for the car, it's going to cost about $1,000. If we save now $100 a month or $50 a month, then in a year we'll have the money saved for the new set of tires. If you want to buy a new camera, if you want to buy a new phone or stereo, again, you can plug those in as short-term goals and save a certain amount each month and have that money available when you need it. From a long-term goal standpoint, whether it's saving for college, saving to buy a car, saving to buy a franchise or some other major investment, you still want to allocate money each month so that you're building that nest egg to be prepared to buy your car or to start spending money on college when you're ready for it. So short and long-term goals are an important part of the budgeting exercise and enable you to plan your spending each month so that you will ultimately have the money you need to make the decisions or make the purchases you need once you've made a decision about this purchase. Well, that's all the time we have for Fun with Finance today. I want to welcome everyone back to our new 2019 semester of Fun with Finance. We've covered our refresher topics today. Next time we're going to be getting into the issue of the stock market. Please take a look at the video that I sent everyone. It's about a 7 or 8 minute video. I think it's a little entertaining, but it is informative and will give you a sense of how the market works and what happens when you buy a stock. The other two things I want to mention to you in closing are to check out Mint.com, and I've already mentioned that before. Establish an account with Mint.com, and another new site that I've discovered that I think can be very helpful is called NerdWallet. And NerdWallet has all kinds of ideas about ways to live frugally and save money, because our goal is to save 20% to be able to take those dollars and invest them in a way that will make us money through the market. That's all for this time. I'll see you next time.